I'm here with Kevin from CKA Construction, and we're going to be walking through his project here in 7 Isles, right here in Fort Lauderdale. Luxury homes come in all different ways. Whether we're talking about a $5 million home or a $20 million plus home, from the level of detail, coordination, the materials used, luxury is unique. So we're here in 7 Isles, one of the most exclusive areas in all of Fort Lauderdale. You know, this house is spectacular, but I want to talk about all of the different properties that are found in this neighborhood. You're on other projects as well. You know, working in communities like this, there's a lot of people buying lots with existing homes, tearing them down. Other people are fully remodeling. You know, when you're getting onto a project, like how do you determine when it's the right time to demolish versus the right time to actually remodel?
Gotcha. So we actually do get this question often, and it really kind of depends on the scope of the work, right? There's a certain point where the owners want to do so much to the existing house that financially and constructability, it stops to make sense. So we need to analyze really what those needs are from the client from day one. And we start hearing them saying, I want to do this, I want to have higher ceilings. And I started already kind of evaluating, all right, I need to rip off the ceiling, I need to redo the roof. How does this affect my structure? Well, I need new support columns. You know, all these things already start kind of going in my head. I start thinking about what it really takes in here. That being said, once we hit a certain point, I already know like this is a teardown.
Right.
There's no way. There's only so much we can do where it's cost efficient. And that's when I start kind of guiding the owner and saying, all right, look, I know you love the house and you think there's a savings on keeping the structure and all this, but at the end of the day, it's going to end up costing you more, or you're not going to get what you want.
Right.
You know, when you start spending this type of money on these, let's call it the first on the remodel aspect, and you still end up with low ceilings. You know, the owner at the end of the day, they think they're going to be okay on it with it when it's black and white on paper.
Right.
Once they actually start getting in and they see the ceiling heights, because it's happened before, they're like, oh, well, I thought my ceiling was going to be higher. And like, no, those are 9 foot, or those are 8 foot, or those are whatever the height is. And they're envisioning these higher ceilings, you know? So that's a critical thing. You know, one of the key points when I start hearing high ceilings being repeated constantly in a conversation, starts leading to ideas where we might need to tear down the house.
Without a doubt, in a house like this, I mean, this is a house that's over $20 million. This is not just the average home. Correct. And when you're going into properties like this and the exclusivity of materials, the finishes, the detail, everything that's going into it, you know, looking at this, I mean, you guys got in on this one a little bit later because of the advice that was given at the beginning.
Yes, so by the time that we got involved in this house, plans had already been developed. There was already an aspect of plans, details, permits were already being pulled. So there was already a lot of stuff in the process already happening. It was a little bit too late to really go back, cost aspects, time-wise, and all that kind of stuff. So we took it on at that point and said, all right, let's do the best we can now. Even then, there was a bunch of modifications, stuff to still increase what the owner really wanted to accomplish. But if he were to start over again and he would have come to me at day one, I would have told him let's demolish the house.
Right. Because, I mean, structurally, you guys
you
modified it, you changed things. I mean, everything here, it's incredible. It looks like a brand new house.
It is. I mean, it really is. There was nothing left. I mean, we had some walls. I had a new roof put in, modified the roof truss, the roofing system, the structural components for all the openings that we wanted, the large glass openings, all had to get new structurals. And when you start doing those structural modifications on these homes that are on piles and grade beams, the structure aspect's a lot more complex.
Right.
So the cost jumps up dramatically.
So when talking about all different types of luxury, you know, luxury looks different in a lot of different ways. You know, when we're talking about a home like this, you know, this is $20 million plus. When you talk about a $5 million house, that is still luxury. But what is the approach like when you're building a $5 million house versus something that's more like this?
Got it. So what I see, you know, between the 5 million, a 10 million, a 20 million plus house, starts getting more detail oriented, more finishes are going into it. The walls, for example,
right.
On this home, as you see, all the walls have a finish on it, whether it's wallpaper, whether it's wall paneling,
the ceiling
combination, the ceilings, we do ceiling treatments. We'll do, you know, the coffers, all these box outs, plus we'll do a Venetian plaster inside. All those little things start adding up quickly. Right. But that's what I see in the higher price point homes. Coordination, quality is still the same for us. We treat our $5 million house the same way, and we give it the same amount of attention as we do our $20+ million houses. The one thing I see is on these more expensive homes, is, we'll have more bar areas.
Right.
We'll have, so it requires a refrigerator, it requires an ice maker, so that requires plumbing, that requires electric. All those little additional stuff that maybe on a house that you're, a $5 million house, maybe we're not putting as many of the appliances. And so that's, cost saving aspects there. Land also value is huge too.
Right.
When you have these spectacular views, your land value is a lot higher. But quality, the subcontractors we use, we're using a lot of the same subcontractors on the $5 and the $20+ million houses. Like I've told you before, our quality always needs to stay top, no matter what. I'm not going to give any client an inferior product.
When you're taking on, there's certain things that you ask or you do when you're working with different people.
Correct. So we look into, as you start learning more about the client, you start having more meetings, and you ask those questions. What do you like? What are you going to put it up on the walls? Do you have a lot of art? Do you have specialty art? Right. We start kind of looking at pieces of like, all right, well, this art piece is going to go here. How can we maximize that art piece? I may change the lighting type for there. I may do a specialty angled light or a special lens on it to frame it out and bring out the colors more of the artwork. Same when it goes to even a car. How do you outline the car? How do we make that car shine and stand out from the rest of the garage? What's going to go into the garage as well to really make that exclusive and unique?
Right.
So all those factors, you're absolutely right. Every house is different and depends on what the homeowner really wants or what they're gonna bring into the home. Is kind of we start tailoring and making sure that we're putting in the right components to maximize the effect of that beautiful art piece or sculpture that they're bringing.
And you've taken the approach of being the developer.
Yes.
And obviously working directly with client.
Correct.
So you have a lot of experience with land value, acquisition, things like that. When you're working with, or if somebody comes to you early enough and they know they want to build their dream home and they're just looking for the right lot or the right area, whatever it might be, you're able to give that insight.
Yeah, I love giving guidance in the front end. I really prefer when clients come to me in the front end and we can come into some types of agreements to get them the correct guidance that I like you said, I've done it all. I've built the houses all over the place, and I've done it as a developer for spec, and I've done it for a custom end user. So I like to kind of get them in the right architect, guide them in that process as well. Who's their right fit, personality-wise, type of home? Is it modern? Is it going to be more traditional, Mediterranean? Whatever their style of their house is going to be, I know who the correct fit is for them. It's just one of the things that we really kind of focus and we really think a lot about when we're working on these projects. Is how can we create that comfort living as well? There's areas of the homes that, and same when we were all kids and you had that, your mom's living room that you didn't want to touch, no one was allowed to go into. We're trying to incorporate, you still want to have those pieces, but what we're learning now is like, people want to use the house.
Right.
They want to try to really use the spaces, still have their elegant areas, but they don't want to have it confined in the closed compartment spaces. So we really try to open up pass-throughs in different locations. Where are you going to be hanging out? Here in this area, it's the family room right next to the kitchen. As we all know, when you're entertaining, everybody loves to hang out in your kitchen.
So building a home like this and working with clients like these, what should somebody know as far as the infrastructure and the day-to-day and the coordination and the staffing?
Okay. So how I think it should be run and how I run my company, it could be different from some other builders. But what we do and what I feel has been the right prescription or the right way to get this thing done, these projects get a superintendent. And these superintendents guys have been working on us for a while. They're trained, they know what they're doing. A big thing with us as well is like I'm training these superintendents on our philosophies, on our cultures, on our expectations, and get them in the mindset that treat these projects like they're your homes.
Right.
All right, this is, that's one of our core values is this is our house until we turn over the keys. All right, so that's why I have everybody in that type of mentality being trained. So definitely the project like this, we'll get a full-time superintendent. We'll also get the superintendent some support staff on the field. Usually means a laborer or an assistant superintendent to help them out with some of the smaller day-to-day little things that occur. There's a lot going on.
Right.
And you've seen we've been at some of my projects, you'll see how we have 40, 50 guys there at times.
Right.
So during those chaotic days, the main superintendent also needs some assistance as well. Then we've got some of the back of house. We assign a project manager to the house and to the project. That person will handle a lot of the financial aspects and be dealing with the owner on more of the financial aspects, the pay applications,
Right.
all that stuff that kind of goes in on a monthly basis. All right, so that's one other component. Then we also have office staff that needs to be associated with the project too. We have the front end, we have estimating that goes into us. So we have an estimating department. They'll do all the front end takeoffs. One of the project managers will actually then put together the full final estimate for presentation to the owner. During the course of the construction, then you also have your administrative sides and your bookkeeping sides. Projects like this have bills nonstop.
Right.
I mean, these are bills that come in daily. Some vendors, depends on material, needs to be purchased right away. Deposits need to be issued. So there is a financial strain too that occurs on this. We only bill once a month. So we have to cover any other expenses that occur during that month, which obviously affects cash flow.
Right.
And it's definitely something to be concerning that people should know when they're getting involved and ask the questions is, what's your staffing process look like? Who do you have who's going to be involved in my project? What's your financial capabilities too? Are you leveraged out too much? So it's always a little bit of a tricky thing in a conversation that sometimes people think, oh, I shouldn't really get involved in their business, but it is, because if you don't have that information and the builder doesn't have the right financial capabilities as well, it could affect your project schedule. One, vendors not getting paid on time. That starts to delay projects. Material not being ordered on time because they don't have the cash flow to put the deposit down.
When somebody does this day in, day out, they have all of the vendors, they have all of the labor, everything that goes into bringing it to ultimately what it looks like in the completion. That's something that people really need to know and put more, I guess, importance on, in the sense of asking those questions from the start, starting early enough, and not just assuming because they're a builder, anyone can do this.
Oh, no, absolutely. I mean, there's a lot of information that goes beyond here, the experience level. It's not something I just jumped in and started doing a $20 million house for the first day.
Right. You push the envelope and you work with customers and homeowners who want unique, they want different, they want exclusive, they don't want their home to look like everyone else's.
And one of the big things too, you said, people want the unique things. I like to be challenged.
Right.
I don't like the house where I don't have to think about it. So I like when clients are, oh, we want to do this whatever crazy thing. I'm like, all right, well, let me think about it. And luckily I've gotten my staff to think the same way.
Right.
And again, when I would tell them, hey guys, we're gonna do X, Y, and Z, and they're like, Kevin, you're crazy. Why are you accepting this? Why are we doing this? And now I've got them to the point where they're like, oh, okay, they're expecting those things now in the houses.
Right.
When it's too straightforward, they're asking like, oh, well, why aren't we doing this? Why aren't we doing the recess, riglet with the base? Are the doors not going to the ceilings? They're like, why are we only doing that stuff? So now they're wanting that challenge, or they're expecting those things in our homes.
And also with those challenges come elevation for future clients, because you've done it, you've seen it, you've gone through the process, you know what it takes, you know what to offer people as well. Because if a builder's never seen it before, also going through that process, you don't necessarily always want to be the first one, but having the background and the experience and everything to be able to utilize everything you've done before to make it happen. And we were even talking earlier, we were downstairs in the garage, and it's little components as far as the functionality. This homeowner, they collect cars. They have probably one of the most magnificent garages I've ever seen. But something as simple as the air conditioning, when they have air conditioning in their garage, when the door goes up, it's being able to work through those lifestyle applications for what has been put in a home.
Absolutely, and it's problem solving, right? We had a problem, and garage doors are going to be left open, and you have AC in there with linear diffusers. They're going to start basically sweating.
Right.
It drives me crazy. We were patching up the drywall, and I was like, all right, easy fix. Well, when the garage door opens, we have a conductor that cuts off the AC there, turns off the AC so you don't have cold air blowing through the diffusers, and the problem's solved.
Right.
I don't know if everybody thinks about that or not, but it was like one of those things. I'm like, all right, I need this problem. Here it is. Let me solve it. Come up with an idea.
Versus being done, leaving the property, now all of a sudden it's a homeowner's problem.
Yeah.
You guys are really going into every little detail throughout the entire process.
100%. And we're always there for the back support too. That's like, again, another core value, right? One of the things is, that we said is don't call Bob the builder. It's one of our things that we're kind of living by now. And I tell my guys, I'm like, hey, we've already established a relationship with this client. I don't want him going to another builder. We're going to do the little stuff for them on the back end.
Right.
So they're going to call me up a year later or 6 months after the road that we finished construction. They want to add something else. They forgot to do this. Or they're calling me about one of their at their office that they need an office space done. I'm there to help them out.
Or when they're ready, or if they're looking to move to another property, or maybe
very-
they got an unsolicited offer for someone to buy their home or whatever. Now they're moving on to another. So there's always the next, and the relationship doesn't stop when you turn over the keys. You guys are bringing the highest level of detail, experience, bringing that vacation lifestyle right to someone's backyard and also inside.
You live in one of the greatest places down here. I've been here my whole life.
Right.
So, native Floridian. And I was born in New York, actually raised down here in South Florida. And I've lived here the whole time and I love it. It's a vacation destination where people vacation, we live.
Absolutely.
So when you're able to come off your boat, jump in the pool for a while, go barbecue, watch a game on TV outside, enjoy this weather year round. It's really spectacular.
Who wouldn't get tired of this? And when somebody wants to build a luxury home, they're looking for all of the luxury elements of lifestyle. They don't want to have to go somewhere else for it. They can do everything here. They can achieve that lifestyle. It's the epitome of what luxury really is. And all of those details and all of the experience that you bring to these projects, everything being so well thought out, because you're thinking about everything that an individual isn't thinking about or realizing until they're living in it and wishing that it was done differently or whatever it might be. This project, your other projects, I can't wait to see more. It's impressive on every level.
Thank you.
I appreciate you inviting us to be
Appreciate
here.
it,
But for all of you, make sure you stay tuned because there's so much more to come from CKA, Kevin and his team. Thank you for watching. Can't wait to see you next time.